everyone. My name is Keelia and I work at the Ashburn Library as the teen librarian. Today, we are going to be talking about some fun books that are all historical fiction, fantasy, have a little bit of like intrigue, drama, magic, and they all happen in that very sweet spot that everybody's really interested in right now, the 17 to the 1900s, kind of that Regency, Victorian period era. So let's get started. The first book we're going to talk about today is called Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carringer. 14-year-old Sophronia is a great trial to her poor mother. Sophronia is more interested in dismantling clocks and climbing trees than in proper manners, and the family can only hope that company never sees her atrocious curtsy. Miss Temenick is desperate for her daughter to become a proper lady, so she enrolls Sophronia in Mademoiselle Geraldine's finishing academy for young ladies of quality. But Sophronia soon realizes the school is not quite what her mother might have hoped. At Mademoiselle Geraldine's, young ladies learn to finish everything. Certainly they learn the fine arts of dance, dress, and etiquette, but they also learn to deal death, diversion, and espionage. In the politest possible way, of course. Sophronia and her friends are in for a rousing first year's education. This book is the first book in a 4-part series of the Parasol Protectorate series. It is so fun to read. When you start reading this book, I don't want to give anything away, but Sophronia is super inquisitive. She is dismantling a piece of technology in the house, and it's so funny to see how she's trying to use it. The book is actually a steampunk book, and the steampunk, if you don't know what that is, it is when back in like the 1700s, electricity wasn't fully developed, so we went on steam power, so like steam trains and stuff like that. So this is a steampunk book. There's like robots, and not only are there robots, but there are also vampires, werewolves, all sorts of things. Like she gets attacked by flywaymen, which are like pirates, but in the sky with steam somehow. I don't know. This book is just hilarious to read. Sophronia is a very inquisitive and fun character, and when you read this, I can guarantee you that you're not going to expect where it's going. It is an adventure, that's for sure. The second book we have has the longest title known to man, and I can't read it off the top of my head, so I'm going to read it to you. Ben Tripp, the Accidental Highwayman, being the tale of Kitt Bristol, his horse, Midnight, a mysterious princess, and sundry magical persons besides. That is the name of this book. Most people just call it The Accidental Highwayman, and it is by, Ben Tripp. In 18th century England, young Christopher Kitt Bristol is the unwitting servant of notorious highwayman Whistling Jack. One dark night, Kitt finds his master bleeding from a mortal wound, dons the man's riding cloak to seek help, and changes the course of his life forever. Mistaken for Whistling Jack, and on the run from redcoats, Kitt is captured into a world of magic and wonders he thought the stuff of fairy tales. Bound by magical law, Kitt takes up his master's quest to rescue a rebellious fairy princess from an arranged marriage to King George III of England. But his task is not an easy one, for Kitt must contend with feisty Princess Morgana, gobbling attacks, and a magical map that portends his destiny as a hanged man upon the gallows. The first thing you're going to notice about this book is how it is written. This book is written with like these and thous and a made-up language and just a bunch of things inside that like the words are real, but if you're reading them, you don't know what they are. You can only discern them from context clues. This book will help you up your vocabulary, that is for sure. But it's so fun to read. Like reading the way that they talk and do all that stuff really gets you into the world. It also makes this book a little hard to read. This book probably took me longer than a normal book this size I would read, but it was worth it. I think it was really fun. Other than that, Kitt, who is the main character, is funny the whole affair of this book kind of reminded me of The Princess Bride, and of that, like, it was just like really snarky, funny, sarcastic humor, and the way that the characters just speak and portray their thoughts and actions, gold. And Kitt is just like, he's so up for it. He's like, well, this is happening now, so now I have to deal with like princesses and old witchy crones and horrible people, and I'm just, yep, let's go. So this is a fun book to read, especially if you are interested in things like The Princess Bride or like Robin Hood Men in Tights, or really just anything that's super quirky and like a fun romp. The next book we have is Jacoby by William Ritter. Newly arrived in New Fiddleham, New England, 1892, and in need of a job, Abigail Rook is hired by R.F. Jacoby, an investigator of the unexplained, with a keen eye for the extraordinary, including the ability to see supernatural beings. On her first day, Abigail finds herself in the midst of a thrilling case. A serial killer is on the loose. Jacoby is certain the foul deeds are the work of the kind of creature whose very existence the local authorities, with the exception of a very handsome young detective named Charlie, seem adamant to deny. This book is a mystery. Jacoby, who is not the main character, Abigail is, if you can see her right there. Jacoby is kind of like a Sherlock-esque type of character, which will kind of become a theme because we have another book that's like this. But the mystery of this book is super interesting. You're reading the book and you're like going through the clues and you're trying to figure it out. And honestly, I just don't think you can. Like, because unless you understand like the, I mean, it all comes together in the end, but unless you know like fairies and myths and legends and stuff like that, there's no way that you can figure out kind of who is the person that is killing people in this book. I didn't. Maybe you're a lot smarter than me, but I could not figure it out, and that's why this was such a page turner for me. I really enjoyed it. Abigail is the type of character I like to read. She is super smart. She actually, in the beginning of the book, don't want to give anything away, but it's the very beginning, she takes her tuition money and she goes across the sea. Like, she leaves England, she comes to America, and she's like, I want to dig up dinosaur bones, and I want to find things and live the unexpected life. Like, I don't want to go to school. So she just like ditches it and uses the money to come here, and she's like, peace. It's really fun. And she's also just like really smart, prim and proper. She's a good read. And then Jacoby, just all of the stuff that he does. I can't explain it. This book was fun. If you like mystery, murder, fairies, kind of like intrigue, this is a good book for you. The next book we have is The Clockwork Scarab. Eveline Stroker and Mina Holmes never meant to get into the family business. But when you're the sister of Bram and the niece of Sherlock, vampire hunting and mystery solving are in your blood, so to speak. And when two young society girls disappear, one dead, one missing, there's no more qualified people to investigate. Now, fierce Eveline and logical Mina must resolve their rivalry, navigate the adventures of not just one, but three mysterious gentlemen, and solve a murder with only one clue: a strange Egyptian scarab. The pressure is on and the stakes are high. If Stroker and Holmes don't figure out why London's finest 16-year-old women are in danger, they'll become the next victims. So I'm glad I tried this book. I have, the minimal movie Sherlock Holmes knowledge, and I kind of know who Bram is. Apparently he's a vampire hunter. Cool. You might be more into this book based solely on those facts, but just going into it, you kind of need to know who they are, because this book is heavily developed on the fact that these two girls are geniuses. Other than that, that's the one caveat I have with this book. This book is cute. It's by two different points of view. One is Eva and one is Mina. And Eva is just this super smart, obviously Sherlocky Holmesy person, and then Mina is this super powerhouse butt-kickish girl who doesn't take no for an answer. So they don't immediately get along, but they have to depend on each other because, reasons. So this is another mystery, kind of falling into exactly what the other book fell into, the Sherlock Holmesy type of situation. but it's fun to read. Their two points of view were interesting. I normally don't like it, but I did enjoy this book. So if you are up for another mystery with two very strong women who can find out what's going on, then this is for you. The next book we have is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. This one was really popular when it came out. So, Henry Monty Montague was born and bred to be a gentleman, but he has never one to be tamed. The finest boarding schools in England and the constant disapproval of his father haven't been able to curb any of his roguish passions, not for gambling halls, late nights spent with a bottle of spirits, or waking up in the arms of men or women. But as Monty embarks on his grand tour of England, his quest for life filled with passion and vice is in danger of coming to an end. Not only does his father expect him to take over the family estate upon his return, but Monty is also nursing an impossible crush on his best friend and traveling companion Percy. Still, it isn't in Monty's nature to give up. Even when his sister, Felicity, in tow, he vows to make his year-long escapade one last hurrah and flirt with Percy from Paris to Rome. But when one of Monty's reckless decisions turns their trips abroad into a harrowing manhunt that spans across Europe, it calls into question everything he knows, including his relationship with the boy he adores. Like I said in the beginning, you will read this book in the voice of an English gentleman. You can't help it. It's just, it starts from beginning to finish. It's happening. This book is funny, like laugh out loud funny. I had to stop a few times and just die on the floor. But even though this book is filled with like great language, bouts of debauchery, funny, hilarious stuff, honestly the best part of this book are the characters. Like Felicity, Percy, and Monty are just great developed characters, and they're fun to read. And this book, it like talks about very hard issues in a very interesting way, and it really cuts deep, and it's great for character development. It's great to see these people grow. And it's even better because this is just the first part in a 3-part series. So the next book is about another character and then another character that appear in this book. But anyway, if you want to just read a fun, loving, good time book, I suggest this. It is good times. The next and final book we have is The Newt's Emerald by Garth Nix. On her 18th birthday, Lady Truthful, nicknamed Newt, will inherit her family's treasure, the Newington Emerald, a dazzling heart-shaped gem. The emerald also bestows its wearer with magical powers. When the emerald disappears one stormy night, Newt sets off to recover it. Her plan entails dressing up as a man, mustache included, as no well-bred young lady should be seen out and about on her own. While in disguise, Newt encounters the handsome but shrewd Major Harnett, who volunteers to help find the missing emerald under the assumption that she is a man. Once she and her unsuspecting ally are caught up in a dangerous adventure that includes an evil sorceress, Newt realizes that something else is afoot, the beating of her heart. Did that sound corny? Because this book is kind of super tropey. And that's why I really like it, because it kind of reminds me of reading something like Jane Austen-esque. Like there's just like a bunch of sweet, cute love tropes, and I just liked it for what it was. But don't just mistake this book for a romance, even though it is heavily a romance. It also has a bunch of action. As a matter of fact, Newt saves her companion and friend several times from death. She is a very courageous girl, especially dressing as a man in a time where I assume it could get her killed. I really don't know. Like life impersonation, probably. I don't know, don't quote me on that. But she could have probably died in many cases throughout this book. She's a fun character to read. She is very, how do I put it? She has the demeanor of a lady, but she also has the assertiveness when she's dressed up to be a man. So her character is very multifaceted. But anyway, super cute book, Read it if you like romance, read it if you like mystery, read it if you just like this general era and genre. It's got the magic, it's got the mystery, and it's just fun. It's a fun read. It's fun and short, it's not very big. Okay, everyone, that was a lot of fun, and I'm now realizing that I didn't always say the author, so we're gonna go back and we're just gonna look at the 6 books again, just so that you can get them right in your brain. Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carringer. Not gonna say the whole name, but The Accidental Highwayman by Ben Tripp. This is Jacoby by William Ritter. This is The Clockwork Scarab by Colleen Gleason. This is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. And this is The Newt's Emerald by Garth Nix. That's it. I hope this video inspired you to get a copy of this book or even put one on hold at our library at www.library.loudoun.gov. Thank you for watching, everybody, and as always, I hope to see you in the library. Bye.